How are you doing? I'm very happy to have this wonderful hour of grace that we can learn Torah together. That the Creator is opening those gates of kindness from above to share the light of His wisdom, of His greatness with us. People who made out of flesh and bones, simple people, and the Creator is choosing us, handpicking us. Think about yourselves now. Out of the billions of people in the world, you have been chosen to learn Torah. You have been chosen to sit and to be part of something so great and so beautiful that is delivering such great inspiration to the world, and we're just doing it together, I'm very grateful. Rabbi Nachman of Breslev in Torah 66 in Likutei Moharan brings verses from Kings about Elijah and Elisha, Eliyahu Hanavi, the prophet, and Elisha, his student. And it's written that Elisha, that he was the student of Elijah, the prophet of Eliyahu, he asked Eliyahu a huge question, a huge request. He asked from him, Heyena pishnaim beruchacha v'yihina pishnaim beruchacha elai. Please, that you shall be like for me, twice as much as the spirit you have for me. V'yihina pishnaim beruchacha elai. May it be that twice as much of your spirit will be forward to me. And this is a huge request. How can a person ask from someone to give twice as much than he have of what he has? Your English is crazy, breaking my teeth. So how can it be that he will ask from Eliyahu to give him twice as much of his own spirit? How can it be? And then Elijah, answered to him, Im tir'eh oti lukach meitach, if you will see me taken away from you, yehi lecha ken, you will earn that. It will be your share. Now again, the most beautiful thing in this story is, except for the greatness of those prophets and the people who had their role in that amazing thing that took place, is that amazing thing that happened in those days is still shining for us to our days. Means that illumination, that deep understanding that now we will learn about, we will see that it can take place in our days as well. We can find that huge potential in our days, even though we're not in the level of Eliyahu the prophet, even though we're not in the level of Elisha the prophet. Still, we're soon going to see how that amazing, huge potential can take place in our lives, in our days. So, the request, V'yihina pishnaim beruchacha elai, so it's written, you should know that it can happen, that the student will be greater than his rabbi. Means that he will have twice as much spirit than his rabbi. And even though all of that will be by the power of his rabbi. Means that when the rabbi is honest and blessing his student, when he passed away from the world, when he's going back to heaven, he is able to give twice as much of his spirit to his student. How can that be? That by the aspect of the spirit of Elijah himself, of Eliyahu himself, his rabbi, the rabbi of Elisha, he will have twice as much when he will die, when Elijah will fly back to heaven, Why? Because the righteous man has two aspects of spirits, ruach le'ela, and a divine spirit, an elevated spirit, and ruach le'tata, and lower spirit. Like that it's written, in few places it's written, Ele toldot Noach. It's written, those were the children of Noach, or those were the things that happened with Noach. You see that the word Noach, the name Noach, was mentioned twice in that verse, once after the other. The verse is calling Noach twice. Ele toldot Noach, and he's continuing explaining. So you see that there are two aspects to Noach. One is a divine one, and one is from this world. Noach le'ela, Noach le'tata. Noach from above, and Noach from below. And also it's written on Avraham, that Hashem, the Creator, He called Avraham, and it's written in that verse, Avraham. Twice the name Avraham. Why you need to call him twice? Avraham for sure was listening. He called his divine spirit, and he called the lower spirit of Avraham. So when the righteous man, in the time of his death, so then comes down to earth the aspect of the divine spirit from above. It's like a magnet. The divine soul of the righteous man is coming down to collect the lower soul of that righteous man. It's like a magnet. He comes down to collect himself. The godly portion of his being is coming like a magnet to collect the righteous man. And then the lower spirit and the divine spirit and the upper spirit are hugging and being attached to each other, because the real truth is that both of them are one, but they are separated one from the other by the body. Into your body, into the body of a person, the Creator sent the lower portion of the soul. And that lower portion of the soul is trapped inside the body. Trapped inside the body and cannot have a complete elevation and to rise back to the sky, to the divine portion that is above in heaven. But in time of death, when the body does not have that power to hold the soul anymore, and the decree took place that the soul will rise back to the heavens, the upper portion of the soul is coming and going through the body. The body cannot hold that. The prison is not strong as it was before to hold and trap the lower portion of the soul inside of it. And that upper soul, the greater part, the godly portion of the soul, is coming down to collect and magnetizing the lower part with it, and goes back up because it belongs to the heavens. And because that the higher spirit cannot be in that world, because it's very, very high and pure, because its nature cannot stand this world at all, therefore it goes back up. And by that fact, the righteous man's soul is rising back and disappearing from this world. And then, in that time, like that Eliyahu said to Elijah the prophet, he told him, "Im tir'eh oti lukach meitach yeh lecha ken." If you will see me, that I am being taken away from you, then you will have so. Means that, and this is what the Rabbi Nachman is explaining in this Torah, that when the student is sitting by his rabbi or standing by his rabbi, in that time that the higher portion of soul is coming down to collect the lower portion of the soul, if he is there, so he can enjoy that illumination of the greater soul, and he can enjoy that illumination. It will wash him, it will purify him, it will touch him, it will bless him, in a way that even his rabbi could never see, could never enjoy when he was alive. Because when he was alive, his body was separating the lower portion of the soul from the divine portion of the soul. But now, after he died, the higher and purer portion of the soul is coming to collect the lower one. And if a worthy student is sitting over there, standing over there, and he is being a vessel to contain the light, to be that one to continue the light of his rabbi, so then that divine illumination is washing him, cleansing, purifying him, blessing him, hovering upon him in a way that is twice as much than the power of his own rabbi. There are more aspects to those wonderful verses, and one of them is very important, and I want to mention that, even though I am not so sure of the source that I heard it from, but still there is a lot of wisdom in that. That when you say that verse, Im tireh oti lukach meitcha, if you will see me taken away from you, then you will achieve that. That Eliyahu answered to Elijah, if you will see me, that I am being taken away from you. Not only in that aspect of being physically in that place when Eliyahu will die, Elijah need to stand over there in that situation. Not only that, also that emotionally, that mentally, you will see me being taken away from you, means that you will see the time of the death of your rabbi, the time of my death, he is saying, Eliyahu is saying, as a separation from your own body, from your own being. Means if your attachment to me is so great, so in the time that I will be taken away from you, you will feel like that an organ of your body been took away from you, cut from your own flesh. Tir'eni lukach meitcha. If you will feel like they're tearing your flesh when I'm going to die, Elijah is saying. Why am I telling you Elijah is saying, and I'm so careful not to say those verses about myself, because I'm not planning to die. I meant to live forever. I'm not going nowhere, so I don't want to say something that is wrong. But Elijah, he had that aspect of going back to heaven, and I have a different story. So everyone with his story, so I don't want to say something that is incorrect. There is another aspect for that verse, and I just need to think a little bit to remember. Yes, now I remembered. There is another deep explanation on that verse. Vayina pishnaim beruchacha Elai. That Elisha is asking from Eliyahu. I'm sorry, not Elijah. That Elisha is asking from Eliyahu. I don't know why you twisted the name Eliyahu to Elijah. And like you can see, Elijah is very similar, sounds very close to Elisha, the student. So there's probably wisdom in it. And maybe also it's connected to this third explanation that I wanted to say now on that verse. But actually the rabbi's name is Eliyahu, and the student's name is Elisha, and Elijah is someone's, the fruit of the imagination of some person who probably didn't know how to spell the name Eliyahu anymore because of the darkness of his own exile. But the rabbi's name is Eliyahu and the student's name is Elisha. Now to the deep explanation, the third explanation, Vayina pishnaim beruchacha Elai. So Elisha is asking from Eliyahu, please give me this merit that you will be to me, for me, twice as much as you were for yourself. How can it be? And that question goes back. We're asking, how can it be that he, the student, will earn twice as much of his rabbi? Because the rabbi had his own self, and he grew up, and he developed, and he earned what that he earned in his life. But he never had himself as a rabbi. He had his own rabbi. He had his own teacher. But now that rabbi, Eliyahu, is in a way wiser than his rabbi. Why he is wiser than his rabbi? Because he received everything from his rabbi and also went with that wisdom to keep on growing, to keep on developing, to keep on rising. So he earned and achieved even more than his rabbi. But the student, so Eliyahu, the rabbi, he himself has his own power. But Elisha, his student, he is not only receiving the light of Eliyahu, he is also receiving the light of his rabbi, Eliyahu, but he also have his own work. Like we now explained about Eliyahu. Both of them are a rabbi to their student and a student to their rabbi. So when you are a rabbi, you are who you are. And that's the only thing that you have. What that you earned until now in your life. But when you are a student, you have all that opportunity of growing and being your true self and to achieve the light of your soul, but also to be blessed by your rabbi to receive his spirit as an additional spirit to you. You're accepting the face of your rabbi. You're growing and you're achieving. Now, like we said, this wonderful thing belongs to each and every one of us. Every single one of us has this aspect in his life, that he can be a rabbi and he can be a student. And it doesn't mean that you need to grow your beard and go in teaching Torah. It means that you are in the aspect of a rabbi and in the aspect of a student. Sometimes in life you're teaching, sometimes in life you are learning, sometimes you're giving, sometimes you're receiving, sometimes you are an inspiration to others, and sometimes you are being inspired from someone else. In every time in life you need to find that way, how to attach yourself with great love, with bondings of love, with great appreciation, with dedication to the one who inspires you, and with love to the one that you are inspiring. You need to build a connection that will reveal the love that exists between both of the sides, between both of you, you and your teacher, or you and your student. You can see that Elisha is asking the most wonderful request from Eliyahu. He's actually asking from Eliyahu, the prophet, that even though that he is about to die and to disappear from the world, that he will never die, that he will never walk away from him. This is what he's asking. V'hina pishnayim beruchacha elai. I want your spirit to stay with me. Don't leave me. Even that your body now is going to disappear from earth and we're not going to see your body anymore, I want your spirit to stay with me. That is that twice as much. Myself and yourself, that you will stay with me even after your death. So to walk with that memory, with gratitude, with love to your teacher, to your source of inspiration, and to go with that amazing dedication to your student and to your follower and to the one who depends on you, and to show the love that exists inside your own heart to everyone who enjoys your lesson and your wisdom, to walk as a godly person with gratitude, with appreciation, with dedication, with love, with honor, with respect, with all good attributes. This is the vessel to contain the light. This is the vessel to contain as so much, twice as much of the one that you achieved your wisdom from. For an example, Rabbi Nachman of Breslev said once that between him to the true Mashiach, there will be no difference in their wisdom except for one thing. What is that one thing? That Rabbi Nachman said, to me no one listens, but to Mashiach everyone will listen. They're wise in the same in the same level. They achieved a perfect wisdom. They know everything, they understand everything, both of them. Rabbi Nachman and Mashiach. But Rabbi Nachman was aware to reality. No one is listening to him. Even us that we think that we are his students, even us that we're learning from his books, It's so hard to follow all his advice, and it's so hard to keep all the things that he said. But when Mashiach will come and will talk to us, his words will be so sweet. They will just melt like butter, like honey. They just gonna flow into our hearts, and we won't be able to stop ourselves from listening to him and follow his words. Mashiach, his light, his illumination will be so blessed. It will change the hearts of everyone. Everyone on earth will wake up to love each other and to care about each other. And when his speeches will go and wash the world from all the darkness and sadness and depression and anger, people will just desire to do good. People won't be able to stop themselves, to hold themselves back from being part of that illumination, of that greatness, of that light. Mashiach, we're waiting for you. Please believe in yourself and go make your wonders. Go pray. Go pray to your Father in heaven and bring the redemption to us all. Please, please, please. We're asking from the Mashiach to wake up, to choose the leadership and to believe in himself, to go and to lead the world with no end, to be strong and powerful and not to be hurt anymore, not to be scared anymore, not to be broken anymore, just to go from one wonder to the next, from one miracle to the next, from one victory to the next, and to bring the complete salvation to the whole world. We need you. Come join us, help us in our war against the dark side, that we all be blessed by your light and your illumination. Mashiach will crown Hashem. Mashiach, we will crown the Mashiach, and Hashem will be crowned by the Mashiach. We will see the Mashiach and we will understand, come on, that's our King, that's our beloved one, that's the one we want to lead us, that's the one we want to be in the head of our camp, that's the one we want to hear Torah from him, that's the one. And also all the kings of all the nations will bow to him and will surrender to him. He will be the King of all kings, and he will crown Hashem. He will reveal to us that he is nothing compared to the King of all kings of kings, the Creator himself. He will lead us to Yerushalayim, to the holy city of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem, and over there he will crown Hashem. He will hand the crown to Hashem. He will put the crown on the head of Hashem. The crown is all the prayers that were being prayed ever before. Like that we're saying in the Tfilah Shmona Esrei, in the quiet prayer, we're saying Zocher Chasdei Avot. The Creator, he remembers the kindness of the ancestors. Means all the kindness, all the good things that our ancestors, not only Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, all our ancestors, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, all of them, all the generations, they were dedicating their lives to the good, they gave charity, they risked themselves, they learned Torah, they prayed with the right intention, they saved people, they were fighting for the truth, they cried, they sweat, they died, they've been killed for the holiest reasons and purposes and causes of them all. And all that kindness of our ancestors, all the effort and all the merits and all the privilege of all the righteous ones, of all the pure-hearted ones, all of them will create the crown of our God, because by their effort, by their sweat, by their tears, by their dedication, and even by their death, all their sacrifices, they were crowning Hashem. They created the crown of Hashem. And Mashiach, he will be the one to take that crown, to see the glory and the beauty of every person, to see the diamonds, the holy sparks, the holiness, the purity of every person who ever lived on earth, and to take that and to crown Hashem, to put that huge crown, all those moments that people ever crowned Hashem, he will take and gather and collect them all, that there will be no one left behind. One praise of God will not be left behind, and He will take all of them and bam, put it on the head of Hashem. And then His kingship will be revealed to us forever. Come on, I can't wait. See you soon, Bezrat Hashem in Yerushalayim.